Latrell, thank you so much for joining me. I'd love to start out by just having you introduce yourself, if you would.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. I am Latrell R. I am a horror, sci-fi, and paranormal romance author. I published my first book in October of 2021, and I have currently 9 published books so far.
Nine since 2021.
Yes.
That's crazy. That's a lot of writing
Yes.
in a short amount of time. So, were any of those, did you start writing any of those before 2021, or did you start all of that writing in 2021?
I actually started it before 2021. So my first book, Nova the Executioner of Justice, it was actually born out of me being laid off from COVID. So I was laid off back in June 2020, which is funny because my birthday is May 30th, and I was laid off June 1st while I was on vacation. And I thought, all right, I felt I was unjustly laid off. So during that time, maybe it took me about 2 or 3 months to, like, really process what happened, and
Mhm.
writing has been a passion of mine since I was a kid, and I say, "You know what? I'm gonna get back into this." So I started writing, and I knew I wanted to make it a horror story. So in the book, Nova, it revolves around her. She's a supernatural being. She's all-seeing, so she goes after people are who think they're getting away with really horrible things, but she sees all, and now she's coming to get to avenge those who can't avenge for themselves.
So, that is, I mean, fun sounds terrible, like she's avenging, right? But, such a fun story. So, with the like, what are some of the, I don't know, what you call, like, what are some of the things she is avenging? Like, what are some of the, acts that happen in the book? Like, tell me one of the stories.
Okay, so they're I will say that a little warning, they're a little gory, some of
We'll keep it PG though, right? PG,
right,
PG-13
right.
maybe?
So the first story is called Broken, and it's about a mother. She's grieving the loss of her child. However, she is the cause of the loss of her child. She's basically she got back at her ex-husband for leaving her. And she's kind of like, she wanted attention, but the way she went about it wasn't great. So Nova is there to, enact justice on her.
Nice, nice.
And to keep it PG as I can.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, so like I said, you're a different guest than a lot that I've had on because they have been nonfiction writers. But I liked that your story was kind of born out of maybe somewhat you had the time because you were laid off, but also because of kind of just your wanting to write on that topic because it just was like getting your own kind of revenge or working through, maybe not revenge, but working through some of the things that you were going through at the time,
Right.
by writing. So I love that. So Nova turned into, is it a two-part or a three-part series?
Yeah, so Nova is a two-part series. Nova: The Execution of Vanity actually was released January 1st of this year, and the stories are a little bit different, but it still revolves around Nova. So when I think of Vanity, I kind of think of celebrity. So that is why I called it. So she's going after, instead of going after like the really horrible crimes that people think they got away with, she's just going after like vain people. So it revolves around celebrities and some politicians, and that's how the story evolved.
Nice, nice. Um, so you also have, so you said how many, 9 books that you have?
Yes, 9.
Okay. And there's another, you have, some of them are a lot of them are series books, right? You have the Making of a Friend series that we also talked about kind of before the show that I'd love you to kind of share a little bit about that one and why you wrote it and what it's about.
Okay, sure. So it's actually the Friend trilogy is what I call it. Each title has friend in the title. So the making of a friend is actually a first book, and it revolves around a robotics engineer. Her name is Lena, and she's been feeling lonely. She's been lonely for years, and now there's this loneliness epidemic. So she decides with her team, let's come up with like therapy robots or companion robots for people who are lonely. During the prototype process, the robot goes a little rogue. And that's what things kinda go chaotic from there.
Okay, interesting. So it's kind of like in the world of AI, probably some interesting books to read for those who get into that kind of the some techie geeks, right? Like might be good for that audience. Um I also noticed from your books, the 9 of them that you have, that a lot of them are have strong female characters. That seems like that is kind of an important thing to you that stands out to me. Talk to me about some of your female characters and kind of why you wrote them the way that they are.
Well, I like to think that I have a lot of great female influence in my life. They're strong, they everybody has a story. Some people have more of a story than others, and I wanted to make characters that were, of course, female, but really strong, and a lot of them are a little flawed because I don't feel like perfect characters exist because nobody is perfect.
Right?
So there's always something in their background that's a little imperfect, but they always come out strong.
Nice. I like it. How did you publish your books? So you wrote them all, what has it been? Like about 4 years, you wrote 9 books. That's crazy. That is just amazing. A lot of I mean, like you said, you had some time when you were laid off, but then you got back to work about a year later. So you've been doing this, on the side, and that's a lot of writing. But yeah, how did you approach the publishing process for your books?
So I knew that I wanted to self-publish, and self-publishing is a lot more behind the scenes that people think. So during the process, I'm learning so many new things. With self-publishing, you don't have that big company behind you. You have to do everything yourself, marketing, getting the books published, getting the books printed. So it was a task, but I overall, I actually prefer to self-publish because I like having that creative freedom to do what I wanna do.
Did you know how to get I was actually just talking with an author yesterday about, the things that you have to do to get the book to the point of publishing, like having a cover design, right? Like, how did you navigate all of that? Like getting the cover design. I don't know if you had your books edited or proofread or, the interior design, those kinds of things. But how did you navigate all of that?
So a lot of it I did myself, but I found a lot of people online, like via Facebook. There are a couple of writers groups, so I go into writers groups, I vet the people, and then I reach out to them. But as far as like covers, I've done 8 of 9 of my covers.
You designed them yourself?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's amazing. So
But
we didn't talk about what you do for work, but that's very different from what you do for work.
yes, yes, it's very, very different.
So let's talk about that for a second. We'll go back to the cover design. So what is your day job? They say don't quit your day job, right? To go and be a published author yet, but
Not
what
yet,
is
not
that
yet.
day job?
So I work in accounting for a healthcare company,
Yeah.
which
So I don't
it's very, very different.
yeah, I don't typically think of people in accounting doing design work, but so that's very interesting.
But we're taking right,
So, yeah, so going back to the all of that. So the covers you designed several of them yourself.
right.
Um, and then how did you have editing done, proofreading? How did you approach all of that? Did you also find kind of connections in the space to reach out to for those kinds of things?
Right, yes. So I've been working with the same editor for about 2 years now. We're actually in a little agreement that lasts a year each year. And I love working with her because she understands my style. She understands what I like. And we've been working great together.
Nice. What about the marketing side of your book? So you have all of these books. How are you approaching the marketing process with all your free time when you're, full-time job and your full-time second job writing books? How are you doing the marketing?
Oh, marketing is the worst for me. I guess because I'm more introverted than extroverted, so marketing is that's always the pain point for me, but I'm on social media a lot. I also do a lot of local author events, so to get
Hmm.
my name out in the community, and I actually do great in local events.
And where is local for you?
So local for me is I'm in Seminole County, close to Orange County, Florida. So I'm
Okay.
around the Orlando area, Orlando to Sanford. So I do a lot of events around this area.
Okay, gotcha. Do you have any upcoming events planned that you'll have your books at?
Not yet. I
Not
actually
yet.
just had one back in October with a bookstore in Sanford. And it was horror based or Halloween based. So they asked me to do it because I did one with them months prior and I did really well there.
It's probably a great time of year for you to be promoting your books, right? With horror themed books all the month of October. Well, they tell you you shouldn't have like a favorite child, but out of your 9 books, what is your favorite?
Of course, Nova the Executioner Justice.
Because it was your
Uh,
first or for
It
other
was my
reason?
first and just her as a character. I always say she's like kind of the anti-hero and she's like, I don't care about your feelings. And so yeah, she's just a different type of character. And I'm somebody who loves like supernatural stuff. So it was easy for me to fall in love with her versus everyone else. Not saying that I don't love my other characters, but she is to me, she is the queen.
Nice, nice. Well, so Where where can people find you? I'll link in the show notes to at least Nova and maybe The Making of a Friend, the first book of the Friend trilogy.
Right.
But where else can people find you or your books?
So you can find me on my website, which is latrellrmorris.com. My books are also on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and wherever else books are sold.
Great. Okay, that's great. Um, and any advice you have for new authors? So somebody who's thinking about writing a book, whether it's fiction, nonfiction, um, just thinking about it. Maybe they've started writing or they haven't yet. But what is your biggest piece of advice after everything you've learned in the last 4 years with all of your writing and publishing?
I would say stay true to your voice. I know everyone wants to write to market, but I feel like you should always stay true to your voice because you'll find your people better that way. Everybody does isn't going to like your books, and that's fine. Everyone shouldn't like your books. But when you find your customers, your readers, and you know that they like what you're writing, that is a great feeling.
That's great. Well, I think that's a great way to wrap us up. So thank you, Latrell, for coming on. And
Thank you for having me.
yeah, again, I will link to your books in the show notes. And yeah, hopefully that helps. I know self publishing, it's not always easy to sell books. And so hopefully you get a few more fans. So thank you so much for being a guest today.
Thank you.
Looking for a community of women writers to support and inspire you on your journey? Join the Author Power Circle. Connect weekly with fellow authors. Learn more at kellyshuckneck.com.